Morgan loses people, he lost himself, and he's lost Fog Entertainment because Season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead kicks off with a lackluster bang. Welcome back to the channel. This is the season where a lot of people say that it died. A lot of people say that this is the end of Fear the Walking Dead. It had a great run, had a great 3 seasons, and now it's downhill.
Yeah, the Clark family have officially been replaced. It is no longer Fear the Walking Dead featuring Madison, Alicia and Nick. It is the Morgan Show, essentially.
The Morgan Show, and apparently pretty much every plot from Season 3 doesn't even get acknowledged. I can't even remember her name, but remember Nick's girlfriend at the start of Season 3? Apparently she's with them in this group, and they don't actually explain how she met up with them again. I hate things like that.
Yeah, I believe they just go in a totally new direction, and it's almost like anything that happened before Season 4 is just completely forgotten about. And it's a new show with Morgan at the front of it.
Morgan's not good enough, man. Honestly, I don't think there's very many characters in the original Walking Dead that could just come over and completely derail a show. But he is not it. He is not the guy that's worthy enough of just ruining a show.
Now look, we'll not judge it right now. We will wait until we finish this show. But I think we'll probably look back at Season 4 and go, you know what, that's pretty much when the show went downhill. Yeah. Not that the first 3 seasons were great, but I thought this...
But I can still say I enjoyed them. I don't think they were good.
I thought this was one of the weakest episodes so far of Fear the Walking Dead.
Yep. The filter was awful. Some of the CGI, the graphics. What I would say, I think John Dory is a saving grace.
I like that character, I do.
But I don't like Morgan Jones.
But he's a goofy character, you know. It's like he's a bit of a, I don't know, comedy relief.
Like the
element.
fish.
But no, I mean, just, I don't know where it went wrong. I think Season 3 was a step in the right direction for Fear. I think it was definitely better than Season 2.
Yep.
I would say Season 1 was okay. I think Season 2 was pretty poor. Season 3 I thought was good. I was a bit annoyed that they killed Travis, but I was excited to see how the show would go on. What would happen after Season 3, and nothing really happened. We go in a totally new direction. So we start with Morgan. Morgan's not happy. He's at the junkyard. They're also bringing in the original Walking Dead, and at this point we've already had All Out War. So, I mean, the timeline for me just doesn't add up at all.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, so at this point...
Now, I mean, I guess...
We're in between Season 8 and 9 here.
Now, I guess you could argue Fear the Walking Dead's had a massive time skip, and maybe that's why nothing from Season 3 is continuing onwards.
Yes, but they've sacrificed it just for Morgan.
But I think a time skip can work when you've tied up loose ends. See, when you've got multiple loose ends open, you can't just have a time skip.
Yeah.
I think it's alright having a time skip when, like... For example, you look at Season 2 of The Walking Dead. I think that them having a 6-month time skip between leaving the farm and then finding the prison, I think that works.
Yeah, it does work.
Because it's almost like you're starting a new story. You're starting like a new arcs of the show. But with Season 3, I mean, there was things that we need to add.
See when you're early on in an apocalypse, man, you shouldn't be doing your... I mean, we are seriously looking at potentially a 5-year time skip here. From Season 3 of Fear to Season 4 of Fear. And you look at, like, Nick and you look at Alicia. I mean, it's more in Alicia's case. I mean, that means she's going for, like, being a teenager, probably her early 20s. And, like, all these other characters, it's like, they're all fucking... Like, I think some people actually forget the grass that in a time skip, characters age, they get older.
Yeah.
It's almost like The Walking Dead, they forgot that, though. Oh, like 14 years have passed, but Carol, for some reason, looks younger than she did at the start. Things like that. I don't know. And like I said at the beginning, to sacrifice an entire show's timeline and plot for Morgan Jones, we're not doing it for Rick. We're doing it for Morgan. A guy that... I don't get it. Even in these flashbacks here, you've got Jesus, you've got Carol, you've got Rick. They're like pleading with Morgan to come back, and he just sits there in fucking silence.
And another thing that bothers me about time skips is you look at The Walking Dead, they took their biggest time skip in Season 9. Would that not have made more sense to keep Carl alive? And then the fact that he's older, you can explain it because of the time skip.
Yeah,
I almost,
probably.
you know the way Carl was kind of outgrowing. Well, I mean, probably from season like 5 onwards, he'd probably outgrew the sort of age they want him to be. But you'd think like the way they done the time skip in season 9, that would have like accommodated the fact that Carl was now an adult.
Yeah.
But they decided to kill him. Anyway, very strange. Morgan decides he wants to leave. He goes on his own.
Yeah, but why is he in mouse mode? What, can he not talk to them?
I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah, why not just say, look, guys, I can't do this anymore. I'm sick of losing people and then losing myself, so I'm done.
He's a loser.
But that doesn't really happen, so he takes off. We had this really bad filter throughout the whole episode. I don't know why. Did they want is that them signaling that it's a special it's really fucking bad. It almost puts you off. Well, even if it was a good episode, the filter would be so annoying that you'd be like, really?
Yeah, it's sci-fi like. Now, apparently this is actually set in Texas. He's arrived in Texas when he meets John. John's accent would
My name's
suggest...
Dory, like the fish.
Like the... Yeah.
Only I'm an IE, not a Y. My name's John Dory. Anyway, so John Dory helps out Morgan. Morgan, though, doesn't want his help, so he leaves. Morgan then gets ambushed by a bunch of guys. John Dory arrives to help Morgan, to save Morgan, but there's more guys, so it means now both of these two are outnumbered. But then a woman shows up. I think her name was Ophelia. Alifa or something like that. Althea, that's the one. She turns up with some sort of like, I don't know, military customized fucking truck that's got guns on a rotating belt or something. It's like, what the hell was this? Like Tommy guns? I don't know. But she's got this like big ass truck armed to the teeth with weapons, and she gets the guys basically held up, and
it just screams comic book, man. This is something like maybe Woodbury or the Saviours or the prison group could have. Not just one person cruising about in. Oh, and then our entire gimmick is filming people's stories. It's like, now, seeing this apocalyptic world, especially as a woman, you just don't interview fucking strangers off the street and they tell your story and then you go on your way. They would kill you.
You'd maybe get lucky with the first couple of people that you stopped and interviewed.
Yeah.
And they might turn out to be nice people, but sooner or later someone's going to be like, aye, I'll have you. I'll have your truck. I'll have your camera. I'll have your guns. I'll have your food. I'll have everything. And that actually ends up happening in this episode. So after she saves the two of them, they get ambushed by this crew that was trying to attack Morgan in the first place, and we get into like a big shootout here. Well, I say a shootout. Morgan's running about with a stick. There's a guy on top of the roof trying to pick them off with guns. Then Morgan climbs onto the roof from like the other side, and he's got like 100 meters to try and fucking close the gap here. So he needs to like close this guy down. There's 100 meters between them, and Morgan's running at him with a stick, and the guy's got a gun. It's like, what the hell was the game plan here?
Morgan gets shot. It was just an awful choreographed fight.
Yeah, he gets shot in the leg, but still manages to hop over buildings, attack this guy, gets in a fight.
There's an awful camera cut.
Morgan throws him to the next building, and he lands in one direction, but then the camera cuts and he's facing another, and you're like, what the hell was this? Then they end up, Morgan saves him. He pulls him up after the guy falls down, but then they crash through a building because the guy tried to kill Morgan again. The guy gets ate. Morgan pulls a grenade on one of the walkers, and then that was it, really blows it up. On the outside, the leader of the group was going to kill Alifa, or is that her name? Althea. John Dory, though, snipes him out like a salmon. You know, he's a sharp shot, takes him down, and then he gets eaten, and she manages to escape. She gets in the truck, kills all the walkers. Now, Morgan and John Dory were somehow underneath all these walkers, and the guns killed all the walkers, and then these two just get up from the mountain of bodies, and it's like, hold on here, how did none of these people get hit with a stray bullet?
Yeah, I mean, it's an LMG, for Christ's sake.
That would just rip through. It's not like if a walker was covering you, you'd be safe. Those bullets would penetrate walkers.
Of course they would.
So, again, I mean, I actually think Fear the Walking Dead at this point, this episode, if you didn't know the characters, you would have thought you put on C Nation by accident.
Yeah.
It had the C Nation filter. It had like the C Nation corniness. It had the C Nation.
He had a tiger.
Unbelievability. And then this woman, Althea, she interviews them. I'm a journalist. I saved you. Let me ask you questions. Morgan reminds her, here, we saved your ass, so we're equal now. Morgan takes off. He says, I'm sick of losing people. I lose people, then I lose myself. He walks off, gets attacked by some walkers. Then we have John Dory saving Morgan, and Morgan then decides, you know what, I'll stick with you guys just until my leg heals. They approach some woman who's acting injured, or maybe she is injured in the middle of the road. They go and see her. It turns out she's not really injured. It's actually Alicia.
It's double A.
Yeah, Alicia, and then we see Madison come out, we see Nick come out, we see Ophelia come out, we see Strand come out.
Madison wasn't actually there.
Well, I thought she was.
It was Nick, Strand, and Luciana, apparently, so that's Nick's girlfriend. She was there.
Is that not who I said?
No, you said Madison.
I said her as well, though. I said 5 people. I think Madison was there. Or did I say Ophelia? Luciana, whatever. So yeah, that's it, and I guess the core group, are we the baddies? I mean, I don't know, are they?
They come across as bad.
They've just ambushed these people, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's 4-on-3. We'll find out, but we end the episode getting reunited with the core group of characters that we know from Fear the Walking Dead. But I mean, the reveal, I think it should have felt bigger. This group coming out and attacking Morgan at the end, it should have felt like bigger than it was.
It should have, like, I think when watching it, you almost just felt it was a bunch of jobbers, like no-namers. Like, if Rick and Daryl jumped Morgan here, like, I know they know him, but take out the equation, it would have felt important. Now, this actually aired directly after the season 8 finale of The Walking Dead. Just shows you, like, this show was in season 4. Just premiering season 4 when season 8 had ended.
Well, it did come out. This came out when season 5 came out. Now, I don't know if this was before or after season 5. I'm going to assume after.
What do you mean season 5?
This show came out when Walking Dead was on season 5.
Oh, right, season 1?
Huh.
Well, again, I'm trying to look for, like, actual confirmation about how long of a time skip there's been, but I just don't get it.
Anyway, we'll skip to the end of the review, give you our rating. I am going to give this 3 out of 10. John Dory for me was the saving grace. I liked the character, thought he was funny. Other than that, never really cared for Morgan. Always thought he was extremely overrated. Some people were putting Morgan as a top tier character. Some people were including Morgan like in the top 5 all time before he even returned, just based on his premiere episode in season 1 and the episode 11 in season 3 Clear. I actually never understood the love for the guy. Decent character. I'd go as far as saying maybe a good character based on those 2 appearances, but for me, I just never really understood why people were so in love with him. He came back. He didn't do me any favour. No, he comes back with his stick and, I see red, and then he's going, is he going to kill people? Is he not going to kill people? I mean, the guy just switches constantly non-stop, and now we're seeing him in Fear the Walking Dead, and this is probably the worst version of Morgan that we've ever seen. So yeah, I'm not excited for Morgan. The filter was horrible. The new characters weren't great. The bad guys sucked. The whole, I'm a journalist, let me interview you, sucked. I mean, yeah, 3 out of 10.
And apparently that takes a hold of a lot of season 4, her with the video camera. There's flashbacks to her on a flight. But listen to this. Listen to how scary this is. So apparently the first 3 seasons of Fear takes place during season 1 of The Walking Dead, and that the dam explosion takes place on the same day as the explosion at the CDC.
And then from that
up to the end of season 8 of The Walking Dead, it's a 6-year time skip, apparently. And apparently Morgan, when he left at the end of season 8, it took him 18 months to get to Texas.
So
I don't even know what's going on with that,
So
man.
basically, Nick, Alicia, Strand, Madison, Luciana, they should all be brand new characters, because it's like, they should be hardened now to this experience. 6 months have passed.
Yeah. It's
Or
just,
6 years have passed.
what you've got to bear in mind is, though, it's like, you look at a character like Judith, who was a baby, was born in the prison. I mean, what age is she by the time season 8 ends? I mean, I'm going to assume she must be like 3, 4, which would back up this. Because I think by the time she's born, I mean, you're looking at, around about a year, 9 months per se. This is what happens though, right? I'll admit, I'm a mark for a good timeline. I think if a TV show delivers a timeline and you can piece it together, it looks really good. But see, when you fuck it up, and there's no going back.
But see, in season 3, it's like everyone's still relatively new to this outbreak. You know, they're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, you've just got like a 6-month time skip.
But see, that's the problem with Fear, though, right? They've essentially went. We can't be fucked with any viewers wanting to watch it like the starting Apocalypse. So let's just get us up to date with the original show.
Which I totally disagree with.
Why would you do that? Why would you have two? Why would you have two of the same shows at the same timeline?
See, Fear the Walking Dead. Why didn't I legit don't know why they didn't capitalize on what the Walking Dead couldn't because of Rick being in a coma for like 60 days or whatever it was. I actually do not know why they didn't just slow the pace down and focus more on the outbreak. People will complain, people will bitch, oh, this is sucks, this is too... I would have been happy...
I want to see how someone develops over 8 years in the apocalypse.
I would have been happy having the first season just last, like, maybe a couple of days.
Yep.
I would have been happy with that. I would have been happy you go into season 2 and they're still in the city. Look at The Strain. I thought The Strain was pretty good. And they spent... I mean, after the first 2 seasons of Strain covered about the first month.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was good. And I would have liked to have seen that with Fear the Walking Dead.
It's just mental, though. By the time this season 4 is beginning, Rick is almost...
dead.
Yeah, going to the CRM. Fucking baffling it is.
I think it's crazy, guys. It is legit.
Then you factor in like the Maggie show. That's apparently a couple of years ahead of like the Daryl show and the man, it's too much to even think
I
about.
think the initial outbreak, right, is when you've got the potential to have the best show and you can show more and you can show people's different points of views or lives, how they're reacting to it, how they deal with it. And we never got to see that in the original Walking Dead, and it's almost like you don't really get to see that in Fear either because, I mean, quickly. They quickly basically get taken over by the army, and then straight away, I think after episode 3, you get a 3-week time skip.
Yeah.
And then everyone's been shielded. They're almost like separated into communities. Like, why were we not spending why was the first full season not in the city?
I know. I'm going to give it a 3 as well. I can just see this show snowballing downhill.
I think it's just cheaper for them if in the city, loads of people, we don't want that. Rural areas where there's not many people, countryside where there's nobody, that's a lot easier to film and shit. But for me, if I was doing a Walking Dead spin-off, I would at least have the first season just dealing with the initial outbreak.
Yeah, but they didn't do that, guys. They failed. They locked up inside Daniel Salazar's fucking barber shop, man. That wasn't interesting.
No.
You want a 6 inches off the top, hermano? Anyway, guys, till next time. 3 out of 10. Peace.